Good morning, everyone. This is an important talk. If you do not train your mind, your words and deeds will not come out properly. Hence, it is necessary to first condition your minds in your favor. These are Amma's words, simple and lucid, but when we try to put into practice, we encounter problems. The very first problem is to distinguish between me and mind. This implies that we should first realize the fact that me and mind are not the same. It is through the mind that the intellect, the emotion, and the me function. Hence, we are unable to distinguish between them. Since we are able to observe our mind, we are definitely different from the mind. Hence, the first thing we should do is to find if our mind is in our control or if it does as it pleases. For this, we need to have a definition by which we can distinguish between the thoughts which can be called mind and those which can be called me. Our existence has three levels, namely the physical, mental, and the spiritual. Those thoughts which keep our consciousness or awareness at the physical level can be called the mind, and those thoughts which elevate our awareness to the spiritual level can be called me. If you are not in a position to identify physical and spiritual, then the thoughts that guide you to progress can be called me, and those that make you regress can be called mind. Thoughts that come when you are idle can be called mind, and thoughts which come by the use of your willpower can be called me. To understand it better, we will imagine the mind to be a horse and me as tied to the horse. If the horse is let free, it will wander and the poor me has to run after it. This running after the horse is what makes life miserable. But if you decide to mount the horse and control the horse, we can use the horse to go where we want to go, and then life becomes enjoyable. This is what happens when our mind also. If we do not take control, mind will start wandering into thoughts of its own tendencies. They will normally be negative thoughts which keep us rooted in the physical level. That is why it is said, idle mind is a devil's workshop. The main problem in keeping the mind under control is due to the fact that the mind has to keep thinking when we are awake. And if we do not have enough work, the mind will go its own way. To understand the difficulty, imagine the horse to move continuously. Unless you have proper way to go, it will take you to forests of trouble. One escape is to take the horse to a ground and keep it going in rounds. An identical thing you can do with the mind is to do japa. That is, repeatedly chant a mantra or a sacred word. So, not to let the mind become a devil's workshop, one of the easiest way is to do japa. But people who have attempted to do japa also realize how easily mind escapes from japa and goes its way. Mind on its own also gets into a cycle of thoughts, and they are always negative thoughts and leads to worry. We have compared mind to a horse to understand the difficulty we have in controlling the mind. The jockey knows how difficult it is to control the horse. The Bhagavad Gita, which is a science of the mind, also has compared mind with the horse, and the girdle is with Lord Krishna, or the spiritual awareness. Let us analyze the relevance of this analogy. Western psychology has mainly studied the sick minds. Hence, the Western psychology normally advocates a person to follow his tendencies. But Indian psychology has mainly studied the higher levels of consciousness. Hence, it recommends that we overcome the limitations of our lower mind and develop higher levels of consciousness. This higher levels of consciousness is what makes us capable of following dharma And that is the message of the Bhagavad Gita. The background in which Bhagavad Gita is presented makes this aspect very clear. Arjuna, who came prepared to fight the war, suddenly lost confidence and says to Lord Krishna, "O Krishna, seeing my relatives met together, desirous of war, my limbs are failing, and my mouth is parched, my body trembles, my hair stands on end. The sacred bow, Gantiva, slips away from my hand. My skin is afire. Neither can I remain standing upright. My mind is rambling, and O Krishna, I behold evil omens." This is, of course, what Arjuna tells to Krishna just before the war starts. And then the condition of Arjuna is showing that he is afraid. He has lost confidence to such an extent that he lost his physical strength too. Let us compare this with an example from our own life. Aiming at the university first rank, the student studies hard and has come for the examination. On getting the question paper, he finds that the very first question is difficult to understand. That has put his mind in a perturbed condition, and he was not able to read even the other questions properly. Suddenly, he finds everything difficult. Even his pen slips out of his hand. Hope you are able to correlate. When you are gripped by the fear of failure at critical moments of your life, you become despondent. That is what happened to the student and Arjuna. So if you analyze and find out why it happens, then you can find ways of overcoming it. Arjuna was the first rank student. He has never been defeated in any war till then. Even then he lost confidence. Why? Answer to this question makes Bhagavad Gita relevant. Arjuna also had not gained mastery over his mind. So the mind could easily make Arjuna despondent. And the able Arjuna lost his resolve to fight the war. This episode brings out the need for spiritual awareness to face the problems in life. You cannot succeed in life unless you gain control over your mind. To gain control over your mind, you should have spiritual awareness. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives Arjuna the spiritual awareness. Only after that, Arjuna became capable of fighting the war. Bhagavad Gita hence brings out the fact that secular education is incapable of equipping the individual to succeed in life. So to bring the mind under your control, its girdles should be with Krishna or the spiritual awareness. Gita makes completely clear that only with a fully awakened spiritual awareness you will gain control of the mind and succeed in life. To understand this, we should make an effort to control the mind. We have to understand what it means to control our mind. We should be able to do what we have to do. That means follow dharma. Dharma are those actions that lead us to progress in our evolution. Let us take an example and understand this. A student who is attending a course should possess two important abilities. First is the ability to take notes of the lecture without missing any point. Second is the ability to think deeply and understand what he is taught. If this is told to an ordinary student, he will say it is not that important. What he is teaching is available in the textbook, so why take notes? But a more sincere student will respond differently and say, I should not miss any point. He would have simplified and explained better than in the text. Such a student has the me predominant in him. Even then the mind may go away from the class, and continuous effort is required to keep attention to listen to the teacher. Taking notes, hence, improves this ability to continuously listen. In the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna raises this problem to Lord Krishna. The mind is restless, O Krishna. impetuous, strong, and stubborn. I think of controlling it and find it more difficult than controlling the wind. Krishna answers to this, saying, "Without doubt, O mighty armed Arjuna, the mind is surely restless and hard to control. Yet, O son of Kunti, by constant practice and dispassion, it is possible." If you critically analyze and understand the answer of Krishna, you will be able to bring the mind under control. When Krishna said it is difficult to control the mind, he addressed Arjuna as the mighty armed. That means one who is proud of his physical strength and hence he has only the physical awareness, and he will find difficult to control his mind. But when Krishna said it is possible, he addressed Arjuna as son of Kunti. Hence it implies a person with an attitude of loving surrender, with no influence of the overpowering ego. Such a person, by continuous practice, can control the mind. If he also develops dispassion, the ability of the mind to withdraw itself from objects of interest and focus on matters of importance, will hence teaching the mind to withdraw from material objects and developing spiritual awareness, you would be able to fully control the mind. This is a symbolic aspect of the girdle of the horses being given to Krishna, guided by spiritual awareness. You will have the ultimate success.